more because it's much more like real racing.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Well, I used to, every track I built for a while there, we had squeeze lanes.
Oh yeah.
I got away from that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if I like that the squeeze link things on analog. That's just me though.
Yeah, it just makes it trickier for new guys.
Yeah.
I
True
like
enough.
I like them just fine as long as they're actual squeezes and not fake ass non-squeezes that only come together just enough for regular sized cars to trade paint, because nobody ever backs off for those, and you never know who's going to come out. No, it's like, I don't care, I'm going to risk it, right? But when you have a proper squeeze where the slots are as close as they can possibly be while still having, copper tape,
Yeah.
those are fine. They work because whoever's ahead, the other guy backs off because he knows it ain't happening. But one of our tracks in the analog club has 2 non-squeeze squeezes in it.
Oh boy.
So every lap you're doing this twice. You're having to decide, well, am I going to risk it, or am I going to back off, or I'm going to try to get ahead of the guy, hope he backs off, whatever. Nobody ever fucking does.
Are you running crash and burn on those too?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's why I hate them so much, because you're in the heat of things. Your brain just doesn't think of them as squeeze points.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we're live on YouTube, by the way.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are. I'm watching it.
Oh gosh.
I saw the thing too, so I wasn't surprised.
I turned off automatic. Yeah, no, I hear it, obviously.
Yeah. Actually, that's you talking about your squeezes.
Yeah, okay. Well, we're live, I guess.
We are.
I'm not going to bother stopping it at this point. So.
No, it makes no sense.
And I probably will get demonetized for all the swearing I just did, but I don't care. I don't fucking care. So, welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number 195. I'm your host, Greg Galb. The gang's all here. We've got Leff and John and all the other Johns as usual. People hiding their faces because they don't want to dazzle us with their beauty, which is understandable.
Oh, Brian did for a minute, though.
But. I know. I was about to just go in dazzleification. Anywho, jokes aside, I'm hoping to do some talking, or let somebody else do some talking about the Suzuka race that just happened, the Oxygen Suzuka race that just happened. But I don't think they're on yet. Wayne will probably do most of the talking. Gio is apparently on his long-ass flight back home right now. So he'll probably come in next week and talk about that.
Hopefully we can coax Wayne out of his shell and he can talk for a little while about.
I know, it'll be so
I don't know.
hard.
He may still be detained by the officials in the country not allowing him to leave. You never know.
So we'll just go ahead and start with show and tell like we normally do. So if you want to show and tell something, raise your virtual hand or wave your real hand, and I'll try to not miss you.
Hold on, Courtney, what's with the Canadian top hat? Is it cold where you are? Oh, you're muted. You're muted. You're muted. We can't hear you.
If my head gets cold, the rest of me gets cold. And I wanted you to feel at home. So
I appreciate that. Thank you.
What you got today, Don? Mr. Young, you're muted too.
Yes, I had to grab it. Well, after a 7-month wait, I have finally gotten.
Oh, is that the track cleaner one?
Yes.
Nice.
And it literally was 7 months. When I first pre-ordered it, it was supposed to have been delivered in September.
People got them.
Well,
Okay.
not in the US, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, anybody who has pre-ordered one before should have theirs by now. But they've already sold out at just about all the places that are listing these on back order. So you might have to wait a while if you try to order one now. Unless you want to pay the $70 or $80 for the ones that they brought over from Europe.
Did you test it out yet?
No, I haven't even taken it out of the box.
It looked like the
I
shrink
took
wrap was
the
still
wrapper
on.
off of it just to make sure that's what was in there, but
Don, would you venture a guess as to why it took them so long to get them over here? Are they selling that many of them?
why it took so long to get them over here, I think had more to do with the supply chain from China. But I do not know. Carrera doesn't tell me their problems. But that's all I got.
Let us know how it works. I mean, I forget, does it pull around a thing that has a duster on it? Or I forget how that one's supposed to work.
Yeah, here, I'll take it out of the box. I don't mind.
Ready.
Got a little duster on the back of it, and I think that magnet holds it down, and the motor gets really hot as you go along.
I remember now, yeah. The heat up, the overheat thing.
Mine's supposed to be delivered today. I was gonna put there's a push along track cleaner that uses a Swifter underneath, a modified Swifter type thing underneath. I was actually planning on putting that in the front and having the Carrera track cleaner do the back part if the motor could handle it all.
Yeah.
Well, from all the reports I've read, if you take the motor out of the truck itself, it runs pretty good. Or not the motor, but the magnet. But leave the magnet in the little thing that trails behind it to keep it pushed down on the track. The only thing negative I've really read about them is it's great for cleaning the rails, but it doesn't make good contact to the track itself.
That makes sense, since the rails are slightly proud of the track.
The other thing I wish they would have made it in a 124 scale, especially since it's a Carrera designed product, and it would allow more of the track to be cleaned.
It's not wide enough to get. It's not wide enough to get the track width of a 124.
I'm believing it's not. I'll be receiving mine today or tomorrow. It's scheduled to come in today, so but I don't think it's going to be wide enough to really do the 3.5-inch width of a typical 124 scale car. By the way, before we get started, I wanted to just throw out there, I'm posting in the chat my draft of our proxy rules. So I just want to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah, we'll get to that later, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay, the little bar that's on the back of it is 3¼ inches wide. That flips up and down.
Okay.
And then this plate comes off and the cleaners are back here, and you put one of those on and snap it back on there. And of course you could just cut Swifters to fit that. You don't need to.
Yep.
Okay, looks like I can't do that.
I've noticed that this part is supposed to snap in and keep it up, but
Doesn't.
I don't think that's really going to hold it up.
Nope, obviously isn't. Whoops.
But it looks like if you wanted to take it off, you could. I've heard several different things about it. Oh, there we go.
Oh, you got to get it up
You
high.
have to raise it up, and then it hooks on it, but it's just barely hanging there. But then I bought it to use it as a track cleaner anyway. And if you got that thing that Dewan was talking about and put in front of it too, then you could do a good double cleaning all in one pass.
And that goes inside the one that I have that actually goes inside the slot itself and cleans the slot as part of the process. And that's why.
Yeah.
That can be helpful.
yeah, I can show that when I go. I actually have it in my hobby room to find that. But anyway, okay.
Alrighty. Thanks for unboxing your truck for us, Don.
All righty.
What do you got today, Garth?
I got a uh,
Chassis?
no. Remember a few weeks back or a month ago or so, we had oh shit. Hang on. I'm sure. We had that thing that Juan to show all the
Oh yeah.
bolts, nuts, and screws and parts and stuff. Okay.
Yep.
So I got an addendum to mine, and this was I think I showed this last time. This was way back when I first built these little screw boxes. Okay. And so, you know, I had glued all these screw boxes together, made out of cardboard. Okay. And then just recently, I talked Jeremy into making me some 3D printed versions. Okay. And so it's expanded itself a little bit. I got some doubles and some singles and different colors. I had him print me up some white ones because I found that the black ones, even though I like the black ones, for the really dark colored screws and set screws, you couldn't see them inside the cups. So I had Jeremy print some more of these white versions up. Okay. And so the thing has expanded itself into 3 deals. These are, you know, screws and washers, and these are set screws and various and sundry. And then over there is axles and axle spacers and things that go around axles. And it shows them from the top. There shows the, as John calls it, the porcupine that spins up for the axle holder. And there's the cups. They're just printed in PE or PLA. There's just a couple of little cups with a little thing screwed on the middle, and then the newer version of the cups. And this, he printed up some red ones for me, and these are they just got a hole in them, and you just, you know, I put a little little wood dowel in the hole. So that's my update. So I guess what John, back in the, when we first did this, John Kitt said, hey, you know, you should 3D print those things. So we took them to heart. And we did. Okay.
Good stuff. Looks useful. All right, I'm gonna lower those hands. And does anybody else have any show and tell they want to share? Projects, purchases? All right, if not, move along. You got something, Mike? I heard you cough.
Well, I have an almost show and tell.
Okay.
I got all excited because after the Porsche 963 won on One Daytona, which was a really great race. If you want to go back and watch the extended highlights on IMSA has it on YouTube. So if you want to see it, it's really a good. But the last few seconds of that race were really pretty exciting, or the last few minutes rather. Anyway, I ordered the 963 and LEB had it listed, and they sent me, and I bought a bunch of other stuff along with it when I did the pre-order, because they have the pre-order of the same livery of that one, which I thought was pretty cool. So I ordered it and they said it was shipped, and I went, oh good, they're going to ship it. Well, it's the 1 cent ship. It wasn't the car, so I got all excited over nothing. But so it's an almost show and tell. Mostly a tell.
Well, hopefully it comes in a timely manner.
Yeah, I don't think it's out yet.
I didn't watch the whole 24 hours, obviously, because I'm not that into racing, but I caught the highlight reel yesterday, and that was fun to watch. Lots of crashes and position changes and strategic, we'll call it strategic driving. But yeah, good fun to watch, so that's worth looking up.
I'm
All right,
excited that the cars are so competitive. The LMD H cars and the LMD cars are really competitive, and it's kind of cool. I would wish that the rest of the Europeans would come over and run IMSA too. That would make it even more interesting. But we'll see. I'm excited to watch the World Endurance Championship races, and those should be good.
Yeah.
But I really like the classic cars. They've got lots more character than the old LMPs did, with different front end designs and that kind of stuff, which is kind of cool. So.
And apparently Pete was down there. Pete's Light Kits was down there.
Oh, cool.
If you didn't see on the forums, while I was at Disney World, specifically Wild Kingdom or Animal Kingdom, whatever they call that one, I'm just sitting there, waiting for the rest of the family to finish whatever they were doing. And this guy comes up and looks at me and says, "Is your name Greg?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Greg Gaub?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Hey, it's Pete." I'm like, "Oh, hey, cool." He happened to be right there at the same park. Saw me a couple of times walking around. He's like, "I wonder if that's Greg from the Zoom chat." Comes up to me. I took a selfie and shared it. He put it on Slot Forum and stuff. But that was a hoot, And he was down there to go to Disney World, but also to go to the Daytona. So he was in there somewhere. So I guess we're moving on to Club Corner a little early. Anybody got any club activity they want to talk about? Say so, or raise your virtual hand.
I will.
Okay.
Not ready yet.
You're ready.
I'm
Okay.
not ready yet.
Mike, did you want to talk? You don't need to raise your hand if you want to just go ahead and start.
Oh, okay. We had our regular Monday night melee on Monday and had a good time. We ran 3 classes of cars, and last week I was sick with RSV and wasn't really up to it, but this week we ran, and I was chastised for running Formula One cars in endurance mode instead of in lap mode. Shiki says, I don't want to run F1 cars in endurance mode anymore. He says that they don't ever do that. So we decided, okay, we'll just run lap mode for F1 cars. But we ran Carrera GT3 cars, and we ran, let's see, what else did we run? F1 cars, GT3s, and God, I don't remember. I live streamed it though, so it was there. So you get to see all the warts and everything on that one. But it was a good night. Everybody won one, so that's always a good night when we have it evenly distributed. And the balancing of performance with using the burn ratio on the fuel is getting closer and closer, and it means that the races are ending up with just 1 or 2 laps, maybe at the most, which means after 20 minutes, we're running within 4 seconds or so of each other. And that works pretty well. So yeah, it was a good time. And everybody went home happy.
Good deal. Always fun. Anybody else want to talk about club stuff? Dewan, you want to talk about the proxy stuff or club stuff?
This is club stuff.
Okay, go for it.
I do apologize. I didn't know that we had already gone live. I thought I got there early.
It was an accident.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't. So didn't mean to jump into it. Okay. But nonetheless, let me go ahead and do my screen share. We had this week was our second race for the Far Out Slot Car Club, and let's see if I can do this. We had 23 racers that came by. We were over at Richard Rodriguez's home. He's got a 3-lane, it's not fairly small, but it's a wood-routed track. It's got some technical challenges. I think you can see it. It's pretty small, like I said. But it was it's a really nice, sweet track to go on. Like so, we had 23 racers. I had over the holidays, I had given 3 of my good friends I gifted them some DTM slotted cars. And this particular race was a DTM car. So one of those three actually showed up to attempt to race with our club, or actually to join our club. And that's the young lady right here to the far right, Sylvia. We used to work at Lockheed together. I was in the aerospace industry. So she came by and she just joined us. She's a complete neophyte, which I'm still claiming being a neophyte myself. But nonetheless, she did join us and had a ball as well. So, like I said, we had 23 racers, and this is the results. We have some very, very, very talented drivers in our far out club. I don't know why. At least more than half a dozen of these guys should be racing in those the national events, and they don't tend to do that. I mean, they're really got Tom Giese. He's exceptional. He's always in the top three, and Tevin Tabucci, and a lot of these guys are just very, very talented as far as I'm concerned. So I feel like every time I go out, I'm almost racing in the nationals event. That's why I think I fall down as far as I do, because they're very competitive. But nonetheless, we had two races, and the first race was the Revo Group 2. No, actually, the first race was the slotted DTMs. The second race was the Revo Group 2s. So that's the results of this race. I finished, in this case, 18th. And this was my friend Sylvia. She finished not in last place. We had a DNF with Andy. So unfortunately, anyway, she didn't finish last place. She felt really good about that. And this was the first race that we had. And then this one I finished 19th out of 23 racers. Again, but like Tom Giese won both of the DTM and the Regos. Again, these guys are exceptionally talented in my book. Yeah, maybe you have just kind of. I've been at several of the national competition races over Electric Dreams, and I'm telling you, these guys, I think that they all will be very competitive in the top 10 easily, thereabouts. We have a very challenging group as far as to say the least. And that's all I have for today.
All righty. Sorry, I'm coughing a fit here. Still trying to get rid of whatever the heck it is.
Juan, did you say how big that track was, or the footprint?
I think it's about 35 feet, maybe 40. I don't know.
It didn't seem very wide. Is it 6 or 8 feet, or?
Oh,
I mean, no big deal. I'm just curious.
Dimensions are probably 4 feet by 8. No, 4 feet by 12. I think it's a little more than that. Yeah, 4 by 12.
Okay, thanks. It was just interesting to see it was a long track instead of a wide.
Yeah, they are. Well, again, here. So my mouse always disappears. But,
don't worry, you got time. Greg's dying back there.
I feel like it.
You got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time.
These guys are pretty big guys right here. They're pretty wide.
Yeah.
Just,
I'm just saying it doesn't seem like it's 8 feet across. Like most people buy plywood in 4 by 8 feet section. So
yeah, I'm willing to bet this is a good 4 foot wide.
Yeah.
And probably 12 feet long is my guess.
Okay.
That would be my approximate guess.
I'm thinking the end closest to us is 4, and the far end is 6.
That's what I was thinking.
And you basically cut a triangle off the inside of the second board. So
yeah, I was looking at it just because it seems kind of small, but it's got distance to it. So I mean, 3-lane looks like it was fun.
Yeah. He inherited, or he bought this off of gentleman Chris Sukimoto's. This was he had designed and built the track, and Richard bought it off of him about 3 years ago. So it's been moved and updated and repainted and things like that. So it's a nice little track, and wood routed. And this right here, this little kink right here really gets you because you really want to go straight and think you can make it through that at some speed. And you just really, depending on which lane, especially this inside lane or the outside lane right here, you gotta die.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
All right. Oops.
Yeah.
I mean,
Johnny, you still there? I'm gonna have you. You're gonna have to moderate here for me because I'm just not able to talk for more than a second.
No problem. Well, it's nice to see you though, but wow, maybe whatever you got, maybe we can give it to Wayne.
No, I don't wish this on anybody.
Okay, well, no, that's great. So we're still on Club Corner then. Anyone else have any sort of Club Corner type of chat?
Talking of Wayne, it's his birthday today. Don't see him on the call though.
Wow, his birthday and we get the present. That's so nice.
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Okay, cool. Oh, Love, what have you got, sir? No?
Can we go back to show and tell?
Of course, yes. By all means, please do, Court. Oh, you got it. Yay. Yes, please. By all means. One moment. There we go.
So I got it Friday, I guess, and I've taken it out of the box. I looked at everything. It's really nice, and I mean I don't build any resin cars, but it's really light.
By the looks of it, because you can see the light shining right through it from our side. When you hold it up like that, you can see that it's very thin. Yeah.
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 Well, but Chris Walker doesn't like it, just so you know.
Well,
why?
I don't know. I don't know. But by the way, Courtney, the proudest thing of that casting are the door handles. If you look through.
Yeah, no, I see. I'm glad there's not a concourse event because I build race cars, and this has got way more parts for the body that I'm used to using. I hope I can figure out where they all go.
Well, take a look at my video. There's a whole series on how to build it. And if you have any questions, by all means, email or we can do a Zoom chat, whatever works for you. It's a fairly straightforward build.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, it's yeah, but it's like it's really nice, and it's really nice. So I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out a paint job. I mean, I like the powder blue, but my first race car when I turned 16 was a bathtub, and I had it repainted, and I got mono, and the SCCA would not clear me to pay to race.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking about doing a homage to that, and but my painting skills are not very good. So
well, the other good news is, like, for the really small bits, they're all cast in, like like the turn signals, the front piece of chrome on the frunk, the door handles, and then the side moldings are actually made of steel. You just have to plunk them in and glue them from the back.
Yeah. Well, it's really nice. I'm excited to. I've got 3 proxy cars that have to go out in the next 7 days. So,
oh well, don't forget that isn't until June. You got time.
Yeah, no, this is on the back burner.
What's
the very, very nice?
What's the proxy rules? Basically, is it you've already got the motor and everything?
Yeah.
Just briefly.
Yeah, the motor wheels and tires are supplied.
Okay.
And the rules state that you have to use all the parts. There are some parts you don't have to use, like the windshield wipers. You don't have to put that on, or the mirrors. If you don't want to put those on, there's no big deal. But there's a full interior, full driver. You have to use that, and so basically limits you to like an angle winder or a sidewinder configuration because it's an 030 motor that I put in there.
Are there gears in there? I didn't look.
No, the gearing is entirely up to you. Take a look at my track and have some fun. I mean, it's pretty technical.
Yeah.
But it should be fun. I mean, and heck, you could win $100.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Cool. I'm so glad you like the casting though, because again, everything I learned from my daughter.
It's really nice. I mean, I've only seen a couple of resin cars, and they were bricks. That thing is really nice.
Thank you. Wait, oh yeah, thank you. Well, you should see. We're working on some other ones too. So
Yeah. So I'm excited. Thank you for sending it, and I'm looking forward to $100 US.
Courtney, you can win $100, but don't spend like $500 to win that $100. That's
Listen.
you might
I
limit
don't know
yourself.
if I don't know if you understand the concept of racing.
I know.
What's the problem with that?
Oh, okay. I thought you're trying to make money here, but okay, maybe not.
I saw a great meme. It said steal $100 from a man is one thing, but if you give him a race car, he'll lose money the rest of his life. So
yep, absolutely.
I think that's a bonus.
Oh yeah. It's just a question of how much money you're going to lose. That's all.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm really pleased you like it. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you participating too. Thank you very much. Actually, Slot Car Dude got his package. He actually just posted a video showing the parts as well, which I thought was very, very nice of him. So,
yeah, no, it's really good. I don't do a lot of video. I'm a little bit secret squirrel. I'm not quite as bad as Jim, but I'm pretty close. And but yes, I'm looking forward to getting it together, and tires and wheels, and it's really cool. It's all really nice. I'm really excited to see how it runs, especially with that little bitty motor, and especially
And again, it's kind of like a Porsche. I mean, Porsches were never very powerful cars, but
right.
they could handle like a water bug, and that's the whole point.
Yeah. So, well, I'm excited. So I wanted to pass that on.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool. And who else has anything to show and tell or to chat about? I do have something for Courtney. Hang on. Wait a minute. Hang on.
Jim has his hand up.
Jim has his hand up. I just thought if you mentioned Secret Squirrel, there was Secret Squirrel.
Wow. And it's and like that, you had it like that.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's all about records management and retrieval. Anything else you want? I can probably get it for you.
All right, what you got, Jim?
Not to be outdone by Dennis last week, I actually went out to my mailbox and found something from Garth and Jeremy. So mine doesn't have his logo, but it's got my logo, and it's on the turntable, and this thing looks awesome sitting in the on my pit table. And I tilted it just a couple degrees so people could see that it does swivel on the bottom. And awesome. Jeremy and Garth, thank you very much.
Yeah. They're doing some neat stuff, that's for sure.
Do you find it to be useful? Does it give you that more comfortable viewing and tuning angle?
I think so. For me, it's partly I have a place to put the car. I'm always taking the car and putting it to the right of myself or to the left. Where did I put the car? So that's part of it. So if I don't put the car on the stand, it's on me. But now the car that I'm working on at that particular time is in a specific place.
Nice.
Jeremy, are you is a custom logo lasering gonna be part of the options, or?
Yeah, it currently is. People just reach out. I've done a few, I think 3 or 4 of them now with custom logos. Just message me what you need, and I don't want to get too involved in it because there's always going to be people that are nitpicking. They want, and you're going to be changing it for the next 3 weeks, trying to figure it out. But so far, it's been pretty good.
Remind us of the website again.
www.jadedparts.com. JADEDPARTS.com. From there, it just takes you to our eBay store where we have stuff up on for sale, but my contact information is in there. I'm doing some custom parts right now for a certain raceway in Jim's neighborhood. So
cool. Nice.
Yeah.
So the floor is open. So anything anybody want to ask about?
Yeah, I've got something.
Go ahead, Dennis.
It's show and tell.
Dennis has got something for sure.
Actually going to show off my absolute total lack of knowledge about something and tell everybody that, that the guy to talk to is Greg. I get all kinds of questions at Electric Dreams about all kinds of things, but the ones that stump me always is some, like today's one was a guy saying, "Hey, I've got 3 SCP-1 controllers that I use for SCX digital, and I want to make them wireless. What do I do?" And I'm thinking, I don't know, cut the wires off, but maybe that's not quite what he wants to know, right? I got hold of Greg, who else, right? And Greg, being the very kind gentleman that he is, has been giving me some coaching on how to help this fellow out. And it appears that, I thought, oh, this is impossible, because how do you plug a wireless cartridge and a digital cartridge into the same controller? But apparently you don't. You take the digital cartridge and you plug a wireless receiver onto it, and you connect that to the track. Then you plug an oxygen cartridge into the controller, and bingo, off you go. Is that right, Greg?
Pretty much.
Except now your communication is wireless, but what about the power to the controller?
So depending on which controller situation you end up at. So if he finds the oxygen cartridges to put into his SCP-1,
which I assume is a problem right now.
They're not quite as widely available since the SCP-3 came out. But assuming that those are located and purchased, then you have the choice of either there's like a small battery box that you can put on the controller. You can get a wire to a 9-volt battery box. But what I prefer is a fairly simple wiring modification that puts a little switch into the handle along with a battery in the handle to basically turn it into what is an SCP-3 these days, which is basically built-in battery, built-in oxygen, and a switch to turn it on and off.
All right.
That mod is out there and easy to follow. It's just soldering. Anybody who can solder the wires in their car can do it, or just get an SCP-3. So your SCP-1s, 2s.
Seems like the guy has 3 controllers. So
yeah, but the thing is the oxygen,
he's still going to need 3 oxygen chips and 3 CRIs, right?
He's still going to need 3 CRIs, but he would not need the oxygen chips because the SCP-3 has oxygen built in.
Yeah. But if he's going to use his SCP-1s, he would need to have 3.
Correct. And the only reason I even say that the SCP-3 as an alternate option is not, aside from maybe having a hard time finding the oxygen cartridges for the SCP-1 or 2, is those are going to be about $100 each, right? So it's not that much more for the SCP-3.
Yeah.
And then you've got your SCP-1
Sure.
for other purposes. But yeah,
okay.
His cheapest way, continuing to use his controllers, is 3 oxygen cartridges for the controllers, 3 CRIs that the digital cartridges plug into at the power base, and then 3 batteries of whatever he finds convenient for the
Thank
controller.
you very much. So you see, Guy, this is what I'm trying to show and tell here is the absolutely amazing amount of knowledge that's available just amongst these 15 or 18 guys that are on this call about every possible part and genre of slot car racing. It's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for all the help. I appreciate it.
Yeah, we each have our expertise to share.
Yep.
Never mind animation. Who else would know who Secret Squirrel was? I mean, come on.
I remember Secret Squirrel. A lot of us in here, actually.
Named his sidekick.
What happened? What happened to
Morocco Mole. Morocco Mole. What do I get? What do I win?
He's got the little
Courtney.
fez.
Oh, no, there he is.
Little fez. Yeah, exactly.
Didn't he have like a monocle?
I don't know if he had a monocle, but he had a fez. Yeah.
Is this a Canadian thing? I don't know. I've never heard of any of this.
Oh, Hanna-Barbera, man. You're too young, Jeremy. You were a mere glint in your parents' eye when this was on television.
No, we were kids. This was
Courtney, do you know what he's talking about?
Oh, dude, it's American. It's American for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So Hanna-Barbera cartoon talk aside, Dewan, did you want to talk more about the proxy, or do you want to just let everybody just absorb the document that you sent around. All right, we're going into it. Let's do it live.
Well, it's a draft, and
Yeah.
a lot of things to hash around and everything. But this is the concept that I was going with. I had planned on getting a lot further along with this, but life happens, and I didn't get back to wrapping it up. But nonetheless, this was the concept to see if we want to get this route. To see the purpose is to have a proxy race. All the participants, and you're probably gonna find some typos in here because I didn't. And I thought we were deciding on that anyone that actively participated or had been I guess, been on worldwide chat would be eligible. So I think that was the kind of the consensus. And then this is what we start off with, but it'll be set up around a unique body and chassis that will be designed and fabricated by one of our members, specifications for the motor used, and potentially wheels and tires, maybe some etc. Some additional items. And then the entrants will be allowed to use their own choice of other components needed to build the car. That'll be the gearing, the axles, all other different things that are necessary. Guides. And I thought about whether we should try to showcase our the guide experts in our group and just throw that in as part of the concept. But we'll can hash that out as well. And then we'll give because the design is based around the 3D printed chassis and body. Those that have 3D printed chassis can do and print their own. And those that don't, we would charge an extra $10 fee towards the entry to include that as part of them receiving those components. And so hopefully the $10 will cover the costs of the 3D printed items and the shipping to them. I'm assuming that we could probably get it fitted in there. If not, I'm sure Greg wouldn't mind. No. I don't want to throw a spot, but this was a concept I wanted to throw out there. Maybe we might acquire a sponsor that might be able to offset some of the costs of this. But nonetheless, I proposed a $50 fee for the entry for those who want to include the provided chassis and body, and $40 they want to print their own. And so that would give us $40 per entry. That will be geared for the quote expenses. And I just thought I just threw a random number out there to limit the to approximately 50 participants, which may be a high number. We could hash that out as well. But if we did have 50 participants, that would be $2,000 available for the shipping of the items. And this is the concept I had on the tracks that we would. I thought about 4 designated areas that we were trying to propose. I know that we had the discussion at length a couple of weeks ago, a couple of sessions ago, regarding having it limited to just one location. But this is the very broader concept of having it be a worldwide slot car chat proxy going to 4 designated areas. And those 4 designated areas would be the United States, Canada, Australia, and then Europe. I just put down England and other European countries, but that would be the concept. And my thought was that we can get one of those big black and yellow shipping containers that probably easy could house 50 cars, and just have that container shipped to those 4 designated areas to designate a person in those areas, and then internally to those areas we can get it shipped a lot easier. But the $2,000 or approximate $2,000 that we have available for the expenses of doing the proxy will be used for shipping that container to those 4 designated areas primarily. And within those 4 designated areas, I just threw out a random number of four tracks. So in the U.S. will be 4 tracks, and Canada possibly 4 tracks, and the other places 4 tracks, etc. And then having it conducted over a 5-month period, which is a little long for, I guess, some people's feedback, but not a year. That would give us 4 races at the 4 locations in a week to transfer the item from one day's designated area to the other designated area. So that's maybe optimistic thinking, and the shipping may be a lot more, may take a lot more time than that, but that was the concept. So to hash that around and get some input from everyone.
Okay, so I'm gonna head off what will likely be a lot of input from a lot of people, and suggest that Dewan, since it's your idea and you're very excited about it, that you are the designated buck stopper. You are the decision maker. This is your baby. However you want to do it, based on all the input that you have received and will receive, which will surely be a lot, and gathering assistance from folks like Chappie Man and others who've done both local and international proxies of various kinds, including 3D printed ones. Otherwise, it's a process of counsel and failure. So if you are willing to take on that mantle, then seek feedback. Otherwise, someone else will need to take that mantle.
No, I designate Dewan as both king and pope.
So Dewan, are you willing to take that mantle?
I have no problem doing that. I've done I've put on lots of competition events in the world of bowling and other areas. So this is kind of a second nature type thing.
Yeah. So to some of the feedback that you get, you're just going to have to say, no, I want to do it this way. Simple as that.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm sure this will evolve quite a bit. For my input, I think 5 months is very, very optimistic for such a global endeavor, if only because in order to make the shipping even remotely reasonable, you got to take the slow boat. Otherwise, that $2,000 ain't going to cut it for all the shipping required. And that's assuming you get 50 participants. I think a 50 participant limit is probably a little on the high side, but I think it's unlikely that we'll get 50 participants, since it's basically those who have participated in the Worldwide Slot Car chat and want to participate in, in the proxy. So realistically, you'll probably get 15 to 20, maybe 30 max. And I think that's optimistic. But I'm not saying that should be the limit. I'm saying leave the limit 50, but expect no more than 20. And plan accordingly. And definitely get, I don't know if you've already contacted Chappie Man or others who've done the proxy internationally. Absolutely take everything that they can offer as far as logistic experience and all that jazz. For my part, I like the concept of 3D printed body, 3D printed chassis, spec motor and tire, but otherwise open, because that leaves more for us to mess with, gearing and whatnot. As far as acquiring the 3D prints, there's somebody in every country every continent, every country who can print them for other people. So like I could print them for people in the US. Jeremy could also print them for people in the US. I'm gonna mute Courtney. And people in the UK for sure can print for those in the UK. People in Australia, I mean, Gary has a printer down in Australia. He knows other people with printers. That there's somebody in every continent, country to print bodies for people, and most of those guys will probably be willing to happily just do it for free. Like I will just cost of shipping, which is like $5, no biggie. So I don't think that necessarily needs to be included in the entry fee, because otherwise that'll be more logistic stuff to worry about. Like you got $10 extra in the entry fee for me to print and ship to somebody else. Yeah, just let us all figure that out with our nearest 3D printing person, or order it overseas if necessary. yeah, I don't know if $40 is enough for all the shipping because it's going to depend on how many cars. So to me, I like where it's at right now. We still need to pick the tracks, so we need to get volunteer tracks. I will go ahead and volunteer my track to run individual cars and because proxy is about the cars against each other, not in a race format. So I'll do them all on my track by myself. So the track number 1, Greg's track.
Yeah,
but
I'll do Canada. I'll volunteer. There you go.
One for US, one for Canada. So, anybody else here with tracks want to throw theirs into the ring?
Yeah, I'll
you
do
can-
mine.
I can
Right.
throw a wood track in if you like.
Definitely. I like a good combination. So we got 3 US tracks. I don't know, Jeremy, you want to toss in another track? I'm not going to put you
Yeah.
into the.
I
Okay, so-
spoke to 2 of the track owners here in Iowa, and they'll both host it. So if
Sweet.
you
So,
need
I
me
mean,
to.
I can do multiple tracks in my area too. The guys in my analog club are always on board for doing some proxy cars. So we could do more than 4 tracks in the US easy. So obviously we'll need some more in other countries. Maybe we won't get 4 in every country. That's possible too. Are you taking notes?
Yep. Yes. If not, I'll play it back.
If not, you'll play it back. Exactly. So I'm probably going to have a coughing fit in a minute, so I'm going to mute and let other people talk.
All right. Well, and there's a lot more to be done on this, to say the least. This was just, like I said, the opening draft, and I do have the rules from the 3D Predator proxy that was Le Mans series from HRW. So, but yeah, and I'm again open-minded, and I am I'm used to running tournaments, so this is not much off of what we consider a tournament. So I think I can pull this off. Any other suggestions, inputs? Anybody want to share?
Dewan, have you thought of a prize structure at all, or is that putting the cart before the horse?
Yeah, I didn't. I wanted to see. I'll be honest with you. I was hoping we might be able to get a sponsor out of this, and might be able to get some material items and/or if not some type of items, whether it's monetary or some type of equipment, things like that. But I'm hoping that we might be able to solicit and get some type of sponsorship out of that. Yeah, Brian, you're muted.
Well, yep, I got you. Well, since you did this, I was kind of holding off on this. Can you stop sharing for a second? I got share something with you.
Yeah, thank you.
So since I waited to do any show and tell because I knew this was coming to share, but I thought I'd give you a quick update on where we're at on the car, potential car. Y'all seeing that?
I'm trying to understand it.
Yep. Yeah, you might close the legend and maybe close the side panel just so we can see more of the car.
Making me move everything.
Yeah. I'm looking at. I just barely see the car on the side. Yeah, the upper left corner. Yeah, somewhat.
That better?
I think you shared more of your design screen than the actual car itself. So the car is very small.
You're sharing the slicer.
Sorry, did the wrong screen.
Okay, there we go.
Let me try this again. Let's try that one.
There we go.
That better?
Yeah.
So here's kind of where I'm at right
now.
now. So I added, a slight detail, windshield, if you will. Just a little detail up the front, back end.
Actually, Brian, that wind deflector is perfect because that's what a lot of F2000 cars have.
Yeah, I figured you could paint it, silver if you wanted it glass or body color. So the little light there in the middle, I may make that a little smaller. I added the exhaust after, so I may move those vents up a little bit on the back. But I actually made the exhaust part of the chassis, keep it easy. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Driver, this was actually from Chappie Man. This is one of his files. I still need to do a little work on him. There is a little detail in here yet. Steering wheel, we got a little bit more. And actually there's a dash portion too, but I'm not sure it's going to be worth putting it in there.
It's looking
I'll have to
awesome.
show it to you later. And the
That's
other
nice.
thing, just FYI, I've gone ahead and designed pick a motor, any motor. They all fit.
Oh, that's cool.
Slim can, long can, standard can. I've
That's
printed them
great.
all. They all fit. I've actually run the long can and the short can, the FF50 and the long can. Both Predators, the 1850 and their 20,500 in this.
And that's
Weight
a little
difference.
variety. I like that.
Obviously, the long can weighs a little more. Well, my thought on this is, okay, we had talked about using the FF50 for the proxy. That's fine. But somebody who has, say, a long routed wood track after the proxy might want to put something a little beefier in there. And these aren't standard pods. I mean, the pod's custom to the chassis. So I thought I'd make pods available, if you want to, maybe you want to do one as an FF50 or whatever motor we decide on for the proxy, and maybe you want to do a beast for your home track.
Yeah, nice.
So, that way, it's not a one and done. Yeah, you build an FF50 for the proxy, and then when the proxy's over, print out a new pod, new motor, and you could have a beast. I've run the FF50 and, like I said, the long can through the corners, about dead even, but that long can definitely has an advantage in the straights. But it also weighs 15 grams more.
How many?
15.
Okay, so you said 50.
Yeah, the motor itself is about 15 grams heavier than the slim can. But again, but that also depends too, because running the slim can on my track, I typically run 10.5 volts. Easy car to drive smooth. On a larger track, I would think it might almost be boring. But if you're running that larger track at 12 volts, that car gets a little more exciting. So that's another thing. What voltage they're running on that track could make a difference. With the FF50, you notice a difference between 10.5 and 12, a lot more than you do on the long can. So again, that would all depend, because that FF50 at 12 volts on my track's a fun little car to drive. It's great at 10.5, easy, smooth to be consistent. But if you can stay on that edge, the edge isn't as sharp, if that makes any sense.
What is
have to drive it, but
what is the practicality of having those three as a viable option for the entrant to select from, based on, once we get all the tracks out there, they can try to gear one for, you have low, mid, and high motor sizes. Is that a practical, or do we really want to limit it to just that one motor?
I want to limit to just one motor.
Yeah, I think it's better. Certainly the first time around.
Okay.
It just means you have to test all three to find out which one works, and that's a lot of time and expense.
Yeah. Okay.
If everybody starts with the same playing field.
You're right. Yeah, you would get all three motors, and you would spend a lot of time testing to see which one you want to, cut down.
One upside to being more open with the motor, which I'm in favor of because I'm stupid, is what access one already has in their parts bins, right? I don't have any slim cans in my parts bins, so I would have to buy a motor and gearing that fits on it, because I have none. Whereas I got a number of flats and S cans and stuff that I could play with, and gears that fit on those things. So.
Okay. I see our
I
Kahutas.
don't have any long cans. Do the long cans use a 2 millimeter
Yes.
pinion?
Yes.
Okay.
Slim can is the only one that's different.
Okay.
I see we have one of our premier members with us joining. I'd like to put him on the spot and see what his input is. I know he just chimed in. Chris, you have any input on this?
Oh, he's here.
Oh, he just jumped on. Oh gosh. Oh, there you are. You're still there.
Yeah, Chris and Alan. Hey, look at this. Yep. It's old. It's welcome back.
Yeah, so we were talking about the options for
Alan, you're muted.
Proxy. for the worldwide slot car chat that we would have entrants submit, and that's I'm just give you a real quick recap. We have a standardized body and chassis, and we're trying to configure this whole draft of proxy for us to take into consideration. So I know you participated in a lot of proxies. Yeah.
Joanne, I've got to tell you that I haven't done proxies since the pandemic and I only did proxies during the pandemic because I was at home bored because all the clubs were shut. So there was no other action going on. So I entered an Australian proxy, rally proxy, which was fun, and a UK proxy that was also fun. I don't have a 3D printer, but I know a man who does. So I might be interested in doing this. I think I'd favor, because the 3D solution is fixed, I would favor leaving motors completely to the choice of the entrant, because it's their risk. Doesn't cost you anything as a proxy. It might even allow you to have a few laughs when someone chooses completely the wrong gear and the wrong motor. I mean, it won't. I don't think there's any organizational overhead to running 3 different motors, so long as the 3D designs are out there to pick up and print. So, I favor it being open.
Yeah, that's a good point. We don't really have. I mean, even if Brian offers some variations on body detail, it's not like you're choosing between a Jag and a Porsche and a Mercedes in a Group C race. We're getting what we're getting. So the differentiations are coming from motors and gearing and whatever other kind of sanding and tweaking you do.
And painting. Mine will obviously be black.
That'll be blue and yellow. And just in case you didn't notice it, Kev, aka OxoCube, volunteered one of his tracks in the UK.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Yeah, that'll be good.
Another issue with motors is that because we've already had volunteers and it's good that we do, they have plastic tracks with magnetic downforce. If you leave the motors open, you're going to have a motor with magnetic downforce.
Yeah.
And so most of the motors you have now would probably be obsolete anyway.
Or just don't care like me.
Yeah.
Well, as long as we prohibit things like the BRM Super Evo and anything that's designed to leak. I mean, there are lots of motors that are rare earth magnets, and it's like running a magnet car. So, there should be a prohibited list. But apart from that, I really wouldn't worry about it. Because as Greg said,
another possible idea, if we do a spec motor, we might get sponsorship from Predator or Slot Car Corner.
Yeah, but then you're into the situation of saying, right, so now you need to send these motors out to all over the world for people to fit and test, to ship them back. So you're adding to shipping by fixing it on a motor that's only available in a certain country. I've never seen Predators available here, for instance. So, but anyway, I'm not a definite entrant. I'm just, buzzed by the idea. So, and I'll leave it to you guys because it's not me running it.
Any other shared input?
I guess not.
No.
Well, I was just going to say, the more simple, the better. That tends to help everybody, I think. And
yeah, another factor too is since this is a proxy, if somebody decides to build a motor with build a car with a 40K motor in it just because, it's going to be so hard to drive, and that in itself is not a big deal. But if it's so hard to drive, it's going to be taking other cars out when it crashes, and it kind of defeats the purpose of the proxy.
Well, yeah, one car. Just the cars isolated to running on their own.
That's not the way proxies work, though. Proxies have multiple cars on the track.
You could
change it so it's one car at a time, but that's a different thing.
Well, it also, Jim, to your point, depends on how many cars too, right? If you've got a lot of cars, you have to run multiples just because of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And
Whereas
if there's
you know,
one car out there that's basically coming off all the time because whoever built it so fast it can't run on some tracks, then it's affecting the other cars.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't know if there's anybody who would really do that, because you know you have to be sensible about it. I mean, putting a huge powerful motor in a proxy car is asking too much of the proxy drivers, and that would be just a disaster. So if it's unfit for purpose when it arrives at a certain track and is undrivable, that has to be forfeit. You know, it just has to be. If it's not
well,
possible
and to your point, Alan, Chris always says you always have to build a proxy car for the worst driver.
Yes.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right. And something that's relatively tame is a sensible thing to do. But multiple cars on the track, I don't know if you thought of this, Duane, but you know, if you're going to record the video of this, because I'm sure that, you know, I mean, when I was doing the proxies, the guys did put video out there of all the races, and it was entertaining to see the cars compete against each other, to see the strengths and weaknesses of each car. So if they're all fixed gearing, fixed motor, you don't really get any excitement out of that at all. So anyway, that's just how I feel about it.
Well, a lot of the tracks, well, not a lot, but some tracks will be limited to the number of lanes. So I know that Greg yours is a 2-lane track. I'm listening, Greg. So
Yeah, it's a 2-lane track, but as far as the time thing goes, it's going to be the same amount of time, because if you're running multiple cars at once, you're still rotating the cars through the lanes.
yes.
So every car has to be driven on every lane. You're going to take the same amount of time as if you run every car on, in fact, less time if you run every car on one lane by one person. So I don't think time constraints is really an issue as far as if you want to designate how the proxy race itself is run in the proxy rules. Like if you want to say the host will run each car in the same lane, you know, at a certain number of laps or a certain amount of time and distance or time or whatever is how the winning is decided, or, you know, let them decide, but one way or the other, single car at a time versus 4 or 5 or 6 or 8 cars at a time, it's going to take the same amount of time. It's all based on the number of cars that determines how long it's going to take.
Mhm.
And how efficient they are as far as moving and switching cars.
Two things from my point of view. Number one, on the motors, is it not perhaps a way to do it just to specify an RPM limit and let people choose within that? And if we specify that mild enough, we'll get rid of all the neo-magnet stuff that Jim was worried about. You know, or we say, hey guys, you know, you're limited to 20,000 RPM, and let it go at that. Then people can run a long can if they want to, or a short can, or an FF. Yeah, as long as you find something that is rated at less than that, then put it in and gear it the way you want to gear it. That's the first thing. Secondly, what the heck was the other thing I was going to say?
I like the RPM limit idea. That
Yeah,
leaves things open without letting people go crazy.
Yeah, but RPMs are not created equal. A 20,000 long can is a lot faster than a 20,000 short can.
Well, that's because of the gearing, right?
And the magnets, yeah, the torque.
Yeah,
Got more torque, yeah.
Yeah, with the same gearing at the same RPM, it has to be the same speed. But because you've got more torque, that's fine. I mean, if you can
pull a
drive it
taller
that
gear
way,
with a long can motor.
if you can drive it that way, that's fine. On some tracks, they still don't drive well because they have so much torque.
And that's part of the choice of the builder. Is
And you're going to base that on how many plastic versus how many wood tracks you've got to worry about as well.
What you could do is specify a handful of motors. I mean, I'd suggest the Scale Auto Sprinter, the NSR factory fit purple for the short can, because they don't have the torque, have a little more speed. So maybe the NSR Shark blue. And I'll leave it to you to decide. And for the slim can, The typical one that's used over here is the Polycar one, which is the 25K factory fit for the Polycar Formula Ones. Or maybe, I don't know. I don't really know much about the slim cans, but you could specify 2 motors for each format. So 2 slim cans, 2 short cans, 2 long cans. And then when someone comes to build the car, they can kind of look at these motors and say, which is the one that's going to work for me. And then you don't get into that having to ship them to the builders to ship them back to where you get back to them.
And can we enter more than one car? Because that could be the other thing. Yeah, some guys may want to enter more than one car with different motors.
That could fill up their 50-car limit. Well, yeah, I know, but you would say that they would, if there's extra slots available, then you could open up to additional cars. So we want to give everyone a single car, and if there's additional, then we can consider additional entries.
Excuse me for jumping in
here. It goes back how competitive you want to be. If you want to be competitive, then you're going to have to buy and test both sizes of motors. And that's what I particularly, in my opinion, that's what I don't want to do. I don't want to have to test 2 or 3 different motors to find the one that's going to work in this proxy.
You don't just grab one.
The problem is going to be finding, you're trying to test something, not knowing what the tracks are like.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. But the testing doesn't really bear any fruit when you test it like hell on your home track, and the tracks you're on the proxy are nothing like those tracks. Yeah. You can't test your tires, you can't test your gearing, you can't really test your motor. All you can do is make sure that the car's flat and true and runs, and hope that your build skills are good enough.
Yeah, make sure it's drivable wherever.
That's the big key.
Well, how about which are you going to allow the entrants to drive their own cars on their own tracks, or are you going to get people to recuse themselves?
I think that's going to be too much of a logistic requirement to not allow the host to drive on their own track. It's going to be home track advantage. Yeah, that's the way it is. I want to hear from Chris.
And then last thing for me before I leave, because I have to go. Let's see, Marco's online. From a hotel room in Germany somewhere, right? Yeah, all right, I'll leave you to him. I was going to say, do we get extra points or some sort of extra laps for using parts on the car that are made or designed by the guys who are on these calls? I'm thinking about apart from Brian's body and chassis, Garth makes wheels. Garth and Jeremy make all those guides. What else is there? There's probably other pieces as well that people are making. The more we use, the better. Certainly, that's what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put a set of Garth's wheels on that car.
No, well, never mind. I want points for making excuses.
We'll just send you the trophies right now if that's the case. First, second, and third.
So we can get the figures from John Kidd, the drivers. Okay. Yeah, we can make a short list of things like that. I like that concept. It's very entertaining.
Actually, it's not a bad thing. There are things that I'd be happy to supply anything that people would want, including, if you want to try my wheels and tires, anything, and then just, give me an address. I'll ship them out and give them a try. What the heck?
Okay, well, I'd love that input, and so we can come up with a nice little matrix of things that you might want to consider like that. It makes sense. I like it.
I think Chris had some input for us too.
Yes, Chris, I'm muted. Please.
Well, my question was, I came in late. What proxy is this?
Worldwide Slot Car Chat proxy.
Okay, but what
can
any
Brian,
car? What's it for?
Can Brian show us again?
Yeah, he's gonna. We have a submission of a custom 3D printed chassis and body by Brian Giprit.
Okay.
And we just take that and we're trying to decide whether we want to lock in the type of motor or if we want to keep that open, but we'd be limited to the body and chassis, and then the rest of the stuff would be optional, gearing and axles and other components, etc.
Tires, rubber tires, silicone, urethane.
Right now, we have not pinned those down. That's whether I want to lock. Yeah, there we go. So this is the concept. We have Brian. He just showcased the body there and 3 different type of chassis designs for 3 different type of motor pods.
Okay. Tires, have you nailed down tires yet?
No, we have not. We were considering, well, we have a lot of things to take into consideration. We're at the early stages of drafting all this together.
Okay.
But we would want to make things very, try to make a fair playing field and make access to the different people around the world. So not having a manufacturer that's in a particular geographical area might make it a little difficult. One suggestion a couple of chats ago was to have it as standardized parts that you can get from like Slotted or other manufacturers. Make those type of limitations, but having it open.
All right. Is Dennis still here?
Yeah.
Quick question for you, Dennis. I got an email yesterday from a guy you referred, or you referred him to me, a guy named Steve.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about Steve?
Nope.
Okay.
Sorry.
He wants me to, yeah, no, he's after me to build a car, but I don't know much else. That's fine.
All right. Sorry, I should have got on to you before I sent
No,
it
no,
to
no,
him.
no problem, no problem whatsoever. It sounds like he doesn't really want to spend much money for a car, so
Mhm.
don't know what kind of car I can build for that.
You could build him a Yugo.
Yeah.
And send it to him.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right,
no,
guys.
that's fine. I just didn't, no issues with the referral. I just didn't know if you knew him or anything about him or anything like that.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, I gotta go, so I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for everything and have a good day. Enjoy it.
Yeah. One other thing about the proxy and various motors. I've been in several, more than enough proxies over the years. You got to build the car for the worst driver that you're going to come up against. So having a variety of motors, if I've got a car with an 050 slim can motor in it, and the drivers aren't going to have a whole bunch of time to like the car comes on my lane, I have 2 laps to set my controller, do whatever I'm going to do, and then I'm going to drive it. If my first car is an 050 and my second car is a long can and my third car is an S can, and I'm not particularly a really good or adaptable driver, you're going to find your car being off the track a lot more than you might want it to be. So one nice thing about a consistent range of motors, at least, is that car to car, there will be differences, but they will be much smaller differences than if you have a wide ranging motor group. That's just put that.
All this stuff going on here.
I've only driven for a few proxies, but pretty much every single one of them had such a wide range of drivability and speed. I was surprised that even with spec motors and stuff, how one car could be so slow and bad versus another car being so much faster.
Well, yes.
I also want to talk about earlier, they said using my guides. When I make my guides, I make them for somebody in the club who's not technical and can't do all the cool stuff like a lot of you can do. So they're just like replacement guides for people who want to get a little better. And then the second problem is since they're not really like high performance, like in that regard, the second problem is that the shipping costs when I try to ship to anywhere outside the United States are it's ridiculous. So that's going to be really hard for me to supply the guides for everybody.
Right. Yep.
And that's why I think the parts need to be global. I mean, if
Or
you can 3D
available in
print
your
the car-
country.
Yeah.
Well, right. So, and Slot It and NSR are global. So Slot It wheels and tires and you know, and NSR motors or a Slot It motor. I think those are all easy fixes to this whole situation.
Right. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Something
Yeah,
you can get everywhere.
I take back my Predator's thought because it's not available. I still stand by what the principle is, but I think Courtney's right. If we standardize on a slotted, what's the motor in their DTMs of the 19K? Or whatever it is, something that's available worldwide. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
go ahead.
the small can, the S can is called the MX-15, and it's about 20K, thereabouts.
Yeah.
There's the one that goes in the Group C is the MX-16. It's a little bit hotter, but neither of those motors are going to tear the track up. The long can motors, there's the slotted Boxer, which is sensible. That's just over 20K, something like that. The NSR King Purple, that's a standard factory fit. If you've ever bought an NSR car, you'll have those motors. I mean, I've got lots of that kind of stuff lying around. And so we should try and find motors that are easily accessible for people, and globally available.
Oh,
Marco's raising his hand.
Marco's raising, jump out of his seat.
Thank you. I've been hearing about your proxy race, and I want to build a car too. I'm gonna get more information from Dennis. One thing that I want to share with you guys, and we'll be proudly, we sponsor it proudly. I think that's the right way to say. We're developing a new motor. It's coming in a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. It's going to be electrical dreams motor. We're going to have 18.5, 20, 21.5, and 25K ball bearing with neodymium magnet. It's going to be pretty cool because it's going to come in a nice box. It's going to be yellow can with the black end bell. And if you guys haven't decided for a motor yet, we'd be proud to donate and have you guys racing that motor.
How available would that be
It'll be available in Spain via Hobby Classic, so you can easily get from Europe and here. Suggestion, of course, if you guys decide.
No, are you kidding? Yeah, no, that's great. Well, that's the whole point, is to get people who come on the chat and companies that are in our hobby to get some exposure. Yeah, that'd be lovely.
But I really don't know when you guys want to start, and I still don't have an ETA on that, so I don't want to delay anything from you guys too.
Well, you've seen how far this has progressed so far, so you know.
We got a little ways to go.
By the end of the decade, we'll be perfect.
What's the balance of tracks wood versus plastic?
We haven't nailed down the tracks, but I just proposed that we do 4 designated areas of the world.
Okay.
To include the U.S., Canada, Australia, and Europe. Those are the ones that I just proposed, and potentially 4 tracks within each of those 4 designated areas.
Okay.
And I'd probably like to do a nice little 50-50 mix of plastic versus wood.
Yeah, I think we could probably manage that, because even though my track is plastic, like I said, the guys in my club are always up for some proxy racing, and we've got about 4 wood tracks, probably 5 soon. So not hard to get access to wood tracks in my area.
If you do have a decent proportion of plastic tracks, and Marco in fact is willing to donate the poly neo magnets, that will be a must.
Yeah.
On a wood track, it makes no difference, but on a plastic track, the difference is on a wood track with non-magnetic braid, it makes no difference. On a plastic metal rails, difference is ridiculous.
Also, we're gonna have another track by June, a flat track. It's gonna be assembled by June, so we can use 3 tracks for the proxy here if you guys want to.
Yep.
Another plastic track or another wood track?
No, Buena Park's wooden track.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes what 4 tracks now in California?
Yeah, we have no problem getting tracks in the States.
Well, what I'll suggest is we'll get candidate tracks or have submissions for tracks that we can take under consideration, and we try to narrow those down.
Oh, it's a lobby thing. It's a lobby thing. He wants money. Oh my God, Juan, really? Do I tell everybody that I discovered that your middle name is George? Or your first name is George and it'll be called Jordan Juan? Come on.
Dewan, you're a man after my own heart.
Okay, but that's the we will have a lot of submissions, so we want to take that in consideration. But we may turn that quote lobbying into offset sponsored fees that might go towards the running of the proxy. But we're not gonna really call it lobbying.
Guys, I want to share something else. I'm here in Nuremberg for the toy fair, and I've been meeting with all the manufacturers. I have a lot of news. I don't know if you guys are interested. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I can help. I have some pictures. Let me try to share some pictures first.
Bring it, Marco. Bring it.
Yeah,
I can share the whole.
I think we're proxied out for now, so go ahead and start doing your thing.
Yes, let me see if I can, if I know how to share that screen. 1 second. I have to close a bunch of files here first. So share screen.
First question. I have 2 questions for you that you might be able to answer. If not now, then later. And that is, what systems will the Scale Auto lane changer support? And when is
they're gonna support all systems. It's a track that you can need to buy the original track from your system and adapt to it. So on the bottom of the track, you have space to fit the Carrera digital system, the slotted digital system, and the British slot system.
Okay, so not all digital systems.
It is.
No, because you're excluding SCX digital system.
Oh yeah, they don't care about SCX.
That's my point.
Yeah, they don't care. And to be honest, I spoke with Ivan, and he says, "Oh, they don't think it works very well." And I as much as it breaks my heart because they're very good people, I don't think the guide is good enough to take that much of racing. I don't know.
No, I agree completely, but they need to be specific about which systems and stop saying all digital systems.
It's going to be 3: slotted, Carrera, and Scalextrics. That's it.
That's what I figured.
So can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the 124 scale new stuff that they're coming. On the left, you have the GT, and on the right, you have the LMP. As you can see, you have a strong suspension system that is almost like a separate pod in the back.
Yeah, we're looking at your folder of pictures, not whatever picture you're looking at.
Shoot. Okay. Can you see my whole screen and moving my window here?
You can see that now.
Your chat window.
Your focus came back to whatever you were.
So now can you see the big picture of the two chests?
Nope, we're seeing the folder still.
I'm glad it's just not me that it's trouble.
Stop sharing and start over.
I hate Apple.
Maybe here. What about now?
That'll work.
Nope.
Yeah, we got to zoom in on a wheel with holes in it.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this is the new it's Scale Auto air system wheel. It's pristine. If you've seen in person, I think it's the most beautiful wheel I've ever seen. You see how many holes it have? I don't have more pictures, but it's beautiful. We're gonna start selling it next week. So here for the cars, on the left you have the GT, and on the right you have the new chassis for the 124 LMP cars. Full of springs and little tricks. It's a pod that moves itself for both. And you also have another chassis that I might have a picture here, which is the Pro one, that it's very comparable to the ones that are racing in Europe. I'm gonna pass real quick scale all the stuff so you guys can take a look. Here's the new Acura 124 scale. Same Acura that Mauricio is releasing for slotted in 1/32. This is new. So they have a new series called GP Classic 124. This is the Auto Union. I think this is the D type with the motor on the back. And they're gonna also release a couple of Maseratis and a couple of Ferraris. And I think it's a Mercedes coming too. It's a 124 scale. It's a base chassis with two-piece pod, one port for the motor, one port from the axle. It's beautiful. It's very well made, aluminum coated, and some carbon fiber on it. They only gonna sell it as a kit and with the decals on, because those cars, they don't have many liveries, so it's just the white kit and you can paint on. The first one is gonna be this auto union there, and then they're gonna come with more stuff. Here's the car with the chassis on. It's really beautiful, and I believe that it has the correct weight and everything. It's gonna run beautifully. A couple of 132nd scale stuff. This is all the new Porsche RS and RSR. They're gonna release the both at the same time. You can see how wide it is, the RSR compared to the RS. And they're gonna offer in 3 different spoilers. They're gonna have the small one, they're gonna have this one, the big one, the whale tail, whatever they call it. So they're really putting in some money on those Porsche 934s. And the first release is going to be the IROC race with all the drivers, Fittipaldi, Fulmer, AJ Foyt. They're just deciding they're going to release this by next year, not 2024, 2025, and they're going to shoot like 4 cars each quarter. And at the end, you can buy a box and have the whole collection. This is completely new. On your left, you have the older model, Porsche 997, I think. And on the right, you have the 972, which is a little longer, wider, and lower. If you compare one car to the other, there's a huge difference. And I think the Porsche is finally going to perform for scale auto. Here, one side by side. You see how lower it is, the left one? It really gets into the category of the Corvette and the Viper. Here's another shot from the back, much lower. Yeah. This is the new Audi. It's the newest thing for them too. It's lower, wider, shorter. If you compare one to another, it's another level. It's just a better slot car, as you can see. And this is the new BMW M8, I think. I asked Ivan, he believes that this is going to be their fastest GT car because, again, it's longer, wider, lower, and lighter. Here's a close-up for the chassis, which is the same scale auto type of chassis. This is the first Corvette Callaway that they're going to release with the new livery. They have available the white kit already. That's part of the new generation of GT cars, wider, lower, longer. 2 more Porsches that are coming this year. Another Porsche with the 70-year anniversary thing on top. This is very interesting. This is the 3rd mold for the Formula 1, 132nd Formula 1 they have. They're going to carry the same chassis, but this mold is a little bit different, so can fit properly the Michael Schumacher's Jordan's F1 7-Up. So it's a little bit different on the front wing and the back wing, a little bit on the nose too. Another Porsche, the wings. It's coming. Another Porsche with the gold, the factory liver with the gold. Michael Schumacher's Benetton is coming this quarter. They're shipping already this. They're investing a little bit to doing the helmets now. So as you can see, the helmets are a little bit more detailed. A couple of rally cars that we can't sell in America. It's very hard to get rid of it. And Spain, UK, and Portugal, they make a lot of money selling those. All the Spanish manufacturers, they put a lot of investments on time doing those things. This is a 132nd LMP, the BMW. That was released by them 2 years ago, and they still work on it. That I think it's the it's not the Acura. Cadillac, yes. I like how pointy it is, those things. They're gonna break super fast, but they're cool. There's more here. The Porsche liveries, they're coming out. I think this is 2nd quarter, this colorful one. This is the one that just won Daytona, number 7. Actually, the car that won Daytona was number 6. They also have the number 6. This is something that people are pre-ordering like crazy because of Daytona, and they still don't have an ETA on that, but it's going to be here on the 1st semester. More rally stuff. Mika Hakkinen car. So this is coming. This is already shipping the new Audi. I'm sorry, the Acura NSCX and Castro, and this other livery here, Helfer, I think. And that's it. That's it for Scale Auto. I can share some pictures from if you guys want it from if I can actually from I don't know if I can from what I have in yeah, I don't know if I can, guys. Let me see. Maybe here. Going back quickly. Okay. Oh yeah, I visited today Pedro Rodriguez's place of death here in Nürburgring, like here in Nuremberg. This corner here, he crashed to this bridge. That was a crash. Yeah, and I made this montage here to show where it exactly was. So some of Scalextrics, I saw the new Batmobile for the first time. Look how big it is, even compared to the taxi, which is huge already. Yeah. So compared to a GT car, look at how it's enormous. But it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's my favorite Batmobile.
I'm Batman.
Look at how wide it is compared to a GT car. Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
and then
Batmobile was huge in real life. It was a real monster.
yeah.
So
It's at the Pearson. It's at the Pearson Museum here in LA, so we bump to it all the time. So I asked the taxi, and I hope this becomes between us. Well, it's online, but anyway, I asked him if was Friends, the TV series Friends, or Taxi Driver, and he told me that they were trying to do with Warner Brothers the car from Friends, but they couldn't do it because actors and rights and stuff like that. So they just released like a taxi driver. Here's the Mirage that was promised for last year. They finally coming out. We'll have a new Jaguar. Those things for us are very complicated. We don't move them at all. This is very exciting. The D2 livery Mercedes GT. I like it a lot. I don't remember the name of this car, and I don't think we're gonna sell it. Jesus Christ. Anyway, I don't know what
Ford
they think.
Anglia.
Yeah,
God.
yeah. Anyway, I don't know if in the UK it's going to be popular but for us, people don't even know what it is. The GTI, I like the idea to do a GTI, but I don't like the project at all. They're gonna function just like they have the buses and the Beetles, just decoration. They're not slot cars. The David Piper Ferrari Spider, I think that's the 412. This is not the color, which is just a sample. The color is going to be proper David Piper. The Batmobile, looking good here. The tax cab driver, which is, I think it's pretty fun. And they gonna do more of the liveries, like fictional liveries or 24 hours of lemons liveries kind of thing. Now a couple of Carrera. I'm bothering you guys. Should I keep going with Carrera?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so this is the new, I think this is 1/32 scale, the BMW M8, looks great. Oh no, those are 1/24. They came back with this Ferrari 512. I don't know why. We have some from 15 years ago. This car hasn't been racing for a long time, but they're releasing a new one. So 1/24 scale. More BMWs. This is just a reflector. It was like a kind of a mirror. The livery looks very cool. I think they're finishing are very, very good. This is the new mode, the Ferrari 297 or 298? 296 actually. This is the car that the owner of one of the partners, maybe the main owner of Carrera Revel races in real life. And that's the cover for their catalog. So they're doing this new mode. The delivery that they're releasing is gonna have Carrera written all over here. So this is the most exciting thing that I saw there. One more Corvette. I think this is out already, actually. This Audi, which is out. Very nice. There is the Valentino Rossi coming out, but they didn't have there to show us. Another Corvette, which is the same livery for 5 years in a row. They just changed the driver and the number. A couple of sponsors. Nothing exciting here. Another car that I think they made in the past. I really don't know if there is a famous driver or a famous result linked to this car, but it just feels dull. This is a cool livery for a Porsche. Porsche is always like very good sales, the 997. And I just don't understand because they came with a new mold for those Porsches with the GT2R or something like that, but they keep selling the old one. The Ford Capri, which I feel that I saw this before. The BMW M1 Kenwood, which is one of the most popular cars here in Germany. They have completely groups and clubs doing only M1s, pro cars. Another one in Jägermaster. This is not sure that it's coming to America because of Jägermaster's licenses. But he's telling me that they're fighting for it. A new Lola, at least a new livery for Lola. Yeah, that's 124th. That's back to 132nd. Niki Lauda's Marlboro BMW M1 Pro car without the Marlboro. Another Lola, I think this is out already. I think we have this at store. The Flaubau BMW, whatever they call it. Schnitzer, Wiener Schnitzel with Coke. This is a famous livery. We saw this livery on the Group 5 cars from Sideways. They're releasing this now on the Group 5 for Carrera. The Lancia Beta Monte Carlo, that I think it's kind of weird. You have the tails hanging down. I spoke with them. They didn't notice anything, but if you compare to other cars that we have, it's a little weird. This car, I'm sure I saw before. They're just trying to trick us. This I think we have out. This is another one that I'm 100% sure that I saw at the store. I don't know what they're doing. Okay, this is a new release, the Volkswagen Bus. In America, they only release the Flower Power. If you want the cool one, the red one, the Porsche livery one, you have to buy overseas or pay premium price to whoever brought this like us. We have to buy from China. And they're releasing two new liveries for the bus, the ambulance here, and the Jägermaster. Oh, look, another picture of the Lancia Beta. You see how the tail is kind of weird? Looks smaller than the front. I don't know. Never saw this before. And here you have the Jägermaster bus. Another livery out of the Red Pig, the AMG Red Pig. And another Porsche Kramer 935 K2. And this is new. This is the new Mustang GT-Y without the wing in a new livery here, kind of George Follmer 51. Another GT40, GTE that I'm pretty sure that I saw this before. And you have those KTM cars. I have one more BMW, an Aston Martin, another KTM Lucky Moly. I think we have this out already. Another Aston, pretty cool livery, very well finished. Carrera bodies, they're the best. A little heavy. This is another one that I think Scalextrics made a long time ago, or I might be mistaken. Sun Energy. Porsche Golf, probably the best seller of all 132nd line that they have. This I'm sure that is out. That's the McLaren 720S. I think that was Jason Button, maybe the Jason Button team or something. Lambo, which is from last year catalog that is coming now, and another pink Ferrari. And this is a new mode, the new Lambo with an air scoop on top, very racy. And the new mode for the new Porsche, which is kind of cool. And then we come back with more stuff of the same AMG, BMWs, M1s. This is the mode, 132nd mode for the Ferrari. They're doing on both scales. AMG. Here's a back look of the Ferrari that was clearly used and abused. Back view for the Porsche and front view of the Porsche. Yeah, that's it, guys. That's me. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, this was a mistake. That was me in Wiesbaden, breaking a track record as a guest. Welcome. Anyway.
Did you talked at all to Slotted or Polycar about their lane changer coming out soon?
Yes, but they still don't have an ETA on that. But Mauricio seems to be very happy about it. I'm staying on the same city as him, so I'm driving him every day to the fair. So we've been talking a lot. Yeah, we figuring out business. Everybody seems to be happy that business is growing, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions about shipments, shipping costs going up, and things like that. It's gonna be a very nice year. We're gonna have over 800 new slot cars this year out. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot.
Cool.
It's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Amazing.
Well, there's no way to keep up. And my whole goal to be here is that those guys stop doing batch releases and just start to give more value for them. Like I remember last weekend or 2 weeks ago when I was here, that someone bought a Carrera car for $14. It's just ridiculous. If you toss your brand this way down the drain, it's just going to be very hard to recover. Right
Yeah.
now in the United States, we have a big problem that and I can tell this open here. The Carrera car now, the price is $35.99 because we have a big discounter using Carrera's name to sell it. So everybody is trying to follow that price so we don't lose sales. So basically we're doing 18-20% on a Carrera car. In a Scalextric's car that's supposed to be the direct competitor because they're one-piece chassis with magnets for home racers, the minimum that we can sell is $69.99. So it's basically double the price of a Carrera. So people need to act, even if it's Carrera trying to figure out something or Scalextric should come down a little bit. But it's been very hard because we don't make any money on Carrera cars because there is a big discounter literally using Carrera names and logo out there. And then on Scalextric, we get the product late. The product's literally not delivered to America. It's just like fantasy liveries and small cars and things that doesn't belong to us. So we have this problem going on. But at the same time, we have people like Scale Auto, Slotted, NSR doing great things, and they are much better product, and we can carry on and sell those things.
What do you want to say, Alan?
No, I was just going to pick something up after Marco's finished his bit. That was a really great summary, Marco. I've really got to get to that toy fair one year.
Yeah, the toy fair is very weak right now. It's the third year that I'm coming and has been downsizing a lot. The slot car people, they're not taking a part of it. They used to have a slot. It used to be here with a stand, NSR, SCX. Everybody was here with a proper stand and showing the products to the world. But right now we only have Carrera and Hornby, and that's because they have other products to support it. I have a meeting with Scale Auto, with Slotted, with everybody else because they're just coming with a bag of cars and we find a meeting table and they show us to us, but they are not holding. And I really think that the place to be and to show slot cars should be the UK slot car of festival. The only problem with that is that the festival is in May and people don't want to wait.
Right, Alan, you're next.
Okay, I was going to pick up where Marco talked about the Scale Autos. Our team is now preparing cars ready for the Le Mans, which is going to be at the Paul Ricard circuit. That's in June, 24 hours of Le Mans. So that's not going to be in the UK this year. That's going to be in Holland. And our team has been rushing around trying to find something that would work. And we've sort of had our fill of working with GT cars. We've had a good set of GT cars. We've been using the Corvette, the Scale Auto Corvette, to great effect. We think now is the time to step up and move to the LMP class. So to pick one that we prepared, or I prepared this one. This is the Porsche Hypercar. And I chose this livery because it really, I thought, would be the easiest livery to do, just to get the car up and tested and running. But even this livery, it's not that easy. I mean, if you look at the window, the side window details, the decals came from Le Mans decals, and they fit reasonably well. You have to chop the air scoop off the top. You have to file that down, otherwise the decal doesn't sit right. But I had to cut the side window decal and apply it in 4 pieces because it's difficult to do because you've got the decal over the crystal work, and then you have to lacquer the car. So if you look really closely, you can see that the door detail, I painted the inside of that door, which is the window. So that's part of the crystal work. which is quite difficult to do. We've been watching other people using this car and seeing the reports coming out on the various forums, and you can see, I mean, you can see how you don't even have to test this car to see how fragile it's going to be. Geo broke his building it, I think. And so we think as a candidate for racing 24 hours, this is a non-starter. So we've already said that this is just not going to happen. But it's a really, it's a lovely chassis and it's got everything you need, but it's not the one we're going to use. Another candidate car, everyone's seen these, the Slotted Lola. Lovely car, it's all put together, works digitally. We did some tests at the Stanbrook Club a couple of weeks ago. Works really well. And we put a cat chassis, a 3D cat chassis underneath it, and put a flat six in it. And this car rumbled around the track really well. It was great. It was okay, but it's not the startling, spectacular performance we want. So we're going to chance our arm and we're going to wait for the Acura to come out. That's the pink Acura that's coming out. And that's the car we're going to do. One of my teammates has already created the 3D chassis for it, long road racing. And this is exactly the same chassis dimensions as the Orica. So what we're doing now is building these cars with the Orica body, and we're going to test on that. And then hopefully, if slotted to release the Acura in time, we're just going to drop the Acura body on it, and we should be good to go. So those are my things from Scale Auto and digital racing for now. Do you want me to? I've got some other stuff to show. Do you want me to carry on?
Heck yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I bit the bullet and bought one of these, the NSR Formula 22. Been testing that. I mean, I love this is me all over, black and something, black with shards of bright colors. That's me. It's actually quite a good car. Performs reasonably well. Although I still struggle with this whole thing with the pinion, having this spigot in brass that goes into the crown. Once you get those on, it's problematic getting them off. And if you want to know how I did that, you can see that on Slot Forum. Slot Racer Online. You can see that. So this is quite good, but it has a tendency to rattle. It's quite noisy, and I have a feeling that's the grub screws that level the wing here. So I'm thinking that maybe I'll put, a piece of glue or something on top just to try and stop it rattling. But it's longer than the NSR 8689. All the characteristics are there that this should be a really great car. I just haven't got it to be a really great car yet. So that's something I've been working on. And the other thing, this is old news. It seems that everybody in the world knew about what was happening to Black Arrow before I did. And Black Arrow don't seem to be a going concern anymore, and it's very hard to get parts already. But these were great cars, and as a team, we used the Ferrari in digital racing, and the Ferrari produced our first win at the Rockingham Club. So I was very happy with the Ferrari. But there are all sorts of things about it that are difficult. For endurance racing, it's very, very flimsy at the front and difficult. So there is a rumor going around that Scale Auto are thinking about buying all the molds. And that would be good to see because, they're great cars, but it's a shame they're going under, but it does seem that they are going under. And that's it for me.
Alan, have you tested the 963 yet?
Yeah.
Do you find it's any different with the it's got a narrower angle on the motor?
Yeah, but the angle of the motor isn't a killer situation. I think for us, the difficulty with this car is that if you're racing disco racing, you have to put a flat six in it. That's the only motor you're going to be allowed to use. And the motor mount for this car isn't really suitable for a flat six. So that's another kind of reason we really can't use it. So I'm converting this to be a sports car for one of the clubs. So it's got a long can in it.
I think, Alan, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think Scale Auto offers you a pod for that.
Oh, that would be good. Maybe I should get hold of
Let me
those.
let
one
me
of those.
check right now.
Okay.
I have the catalog here. Yeah, I think they offer. If they don't, they will have.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, I'll look at
many
that.
parts.
I'll look at that. That might be interesting. However, the kind of the fragility of the front end means that for us we won't use it. This compared to the slotted cars, the back end of this car is higher, so you can put a long can motor in it. When you look at the slotted cars, the back end of the car is much lower. You cannot put an FK motor 180 in there. It has to be a flat motor. It just won't fit otherwise. So I'm converting this to sprint racing analog, and I'm going to have a long can motor in it, and I think it'll be really competitive. I think it should be every bit as good as an NSR Mosler with similar equipment.
Mhm.
So it's not that, it's the thing about these races, this type of thing, prepping a car. You buy one, you test it, you look at it, you weigh up the alternatives, you look at how competitive it might be. And this is a lovely car, but it's not one we could race for 24 hours.
Have
But
you
for sprint racing,
tried the SRC Porsche or the Toyota?
no, we haven't done anything with the SRCs at all. Haven't even really seen one of those. I mean, I'd like to see one. It's something that one of the clubs I go to, Nascat Wood, is considering, still in early stages, considering replacing one of our classes with an LMP stroke hypercar class. So it would be SRC, slot it, scale auto, and the members will be free to choose whatever they want to choose, and then we'll fight it out. And those mixed manufacturer classes, they're the really exciting ones. And we have a class where we allow NSR 8689 Formula One cars, and we put those right up against the scale auto Formula One cars. And you can change the parts in between. So if you like the scale auto motor, you can put that in your NSR. You like the NSR motor, you can put that in the scale auto. A lot of interchangeable parts, and it's a really competitive, interesting class and very well attended, which, Formula One is not normally the class that can pull in 15 and 16 people, but that class is. People are really enjoying it. They're really getting into it.
Cool beans.
I've got a quick update on our chassis development here.
Mhm.
Is that up?
Yep.
Oh, this is 32nd scale car. This one has a bracket on it that allows a Lexan body mount, but as it's progressing, we will have a couple of body posts up here and a small tab on the back that will allow mounting via body posts under a normal injected plastic car. So I've been really playing a lot with the pivot tube here to increase the rotation on the back end. I think we're pretty well set with how we're going to do that now. There's it twists torsionally much softer now, and hopefully it'll be a great running car.
So this is for a Mosetti Racing something?
Yes, but don't tell anybody that right now.
But yeah, okay.
Everybody.
But this isn't a one-off. This is something that's going to be produced in some number.
This right now, as it sits, is a one-off. Initially, the first cuts had laser cut steel down the center. It was much too stiff. So in developing it, I've taken that out, and I've got a couple of pivot tubes here that I've soldered in, and I've been playing around with different size piano wire and different flexes to get the back end to flex more. So it's nice and soft now, so it should be great.
And that's 120.
As a slot car builder, this is beautiful, but I can see from a mile that you cut the wires wrong.
Cut which wires?
No, I mean the negative is all sticking out, and the positive is kind of, we have some room, so we kind of have to invert it at some point. I did that so many times.
Well, This loop was so it didn't fall down and drop through the bottom of the chassis, but
Oh, okay.
That's
Very
one
nice stuff.
right? 124.
So this is a Mossetti kit, or is just something that you scratch build?
it's a combination of.
So is that a laser cut steel?
I've helped
Yes.
Ernie out for, sorry, I've known Ernie, I can't even tell you. We were building chassis in late 1960s together. So, I've helped him with some of his cars and stuff like that. I'm I'm not anything to do with MR slot car other than I've known Ernie for thousands and thousands. We've raced all over the world, and I just do it in spare time and help him out. So we're just trying to dick around with a few little things.
Yeah, Ern is the coolest guy around.
If there's anything I'd like Mazzetti MR slot car to be doing, it would be to put out a matching set and 3 more cars for the Shadow. For me, I don't have that Shadow. I've seen it in person. I've held it in my hands. I've seen it go around a track. And it seems to be universally the car of 2023. I don't think there are many people who would argue that that was by far the best release of 2023.
I believe that the George Foreman car is coming, the 00. And they're also going to release a white kit so people can do like a series or something.
Right.
Yeah.
You haven't heard it from me, but there may be, against my desire, there may be a few fantasy liveries as well. But the Fulmer car and a white kit, I mean, if you've got the molds, and so I don't like white kits of shadows. I think every shadow in the world should be black. Like, it's just, I don't want to do a Sunoco shadow. It would make me ill, but beside the point.
But
I will guess
with the
the
chopper
fantasy
also.
livery will be Golf or John Player Special, right?
Oh God, please stop.
It's got to be
No,
Golf, and then reverse Golf.
I was mainly talking not about reliveries for the Shadow, but actually new cars. I mean, that tranche of Can-Am had amazing cars,
Right.
which we never see, and nobody's produced them. And all the clubs I go to, if there were a nice match set of those Can-Am cars, we'd be all over it. We'd be dropping other classes like hell to race those. So, you know, there are all sorts of cars. I mean, the one that comes to mind is one's the Frisbee, one's the Ski. There are so many cars that could be produced, and it would be great to see MR Slot Car take that mantle up, because no other manufacturer has done that, and that would give them a niche to really work into. Guaranteed, on the back of the Shadow release, which was universally, you know, applauded for everything, even the technical parts of it, like the guide, the innovation in the guide. More cars, not more liveries, more cars. Would love to see that.
We have, I have several pictures of several cars that I have given to Ernie over the years. I agree with you 100%. When was it? 2000, almost 20 years ago now. When the first Mazda came out, which was basically at Maurizio got his Mazda out before Ernie got his Mazda out. There was a group of us saying, develop a class that nobody is doing. You know, Slot owns Group C. If you're going to run a Group C class, you're going to run a Slot Group C class. So develop a line of cars, whether it's at that time, whether it's DTM cars, whether it's British touring cars, whatever it is, develop a series of cars so that the clubs can embrace that. To launch I agree with you, to launch one, you know, to go from a Mazda to a Porsche to a Shadow, they're one-offs, which is great. But the way to really create a business for yourself is to have a range of cars. I mean, I know our local, we've got more than a dozen wood tracks within a 25 minute drive of my house. And when the Mazda first came out, and a lot of the clubs said, okay, Ernie's Mazda comes out, can we allow this in the Group C? Well, no, it's a slotted Group C class, which made a whole bunch of sense. So if you have 6 or 7 Can-Am cars in 2 or 3 different liveries and blah, 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 you can own a series, which I'm preaching to the converted here. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. There's no, I share your frustration and I probably verbalize it weekly.
I think you're right. Absolutely right. That niche could be that single seat Can-Am series.
Right. It could be, I mean, there's all kinds of things it could have been. It could have been the British touring car series before Scalextrics came out with them. It could have been this, it could have been that, but and there are some more cars planned from Ernie. And I can't tell you what they are, but I can tell you they're different, which to my way of thinking just doesn't make any sense.
Okay, like you said, you're preaching to the converted, so let's see.
No,
whether
I can't remember when it was, in the early 2000s. A few of us said to him, let's do a range of cars and own something. And at the time, it was at that time, it was going to be early Can-Am cars, Lola T70s, McLarens, et cetera, et cetera. And there's tons of those things then. Then you can own an early USAC Can-Am series group of cars. The clubs will love them. You launch a bunch and away you go. But one here, one there, one here, one there, one there is, you know.
Okay.
That's part of Revo Slot success too.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the Revo Slot success.
In all fairness, how do I say this? A lot of these companies are trying to run a business. Ernie's concern over a business at this stage, most of his stuff is 24 scale metal chassis cars, drag chassis and all the rest of the stuff. This is very much, Ernie doesn't play with 32nd scale plastic cars. I think he's probably driven one a dozen laps around his track in his life. It's something he doesn't need to do it as a business, which affects your, you know, years ago, the train guy did that M8D McLaren, historic racing replicas. And he liked the car. He just wanted to do the one car. And everybody said, do more. And he goes, no, I don't want to do more. I just want to do this one. So, yeah, you have to, you know, understand what his sort of philosophy is on the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Chris. I know that we don't know each other, but from the point of view of a buyer and working with Ernie closely to have his cars distributed, shared with other racers in other markets, I don't see the same way. Ernie was here racing with us, the MR Slot Car Challenge. He came in 13th out of 46, so he probably raced more than 40 laps. He's very into putting new cars out. We have a plan of a lot of new reviews that I cannot share with you guys because it's secret from Ernie. And he's been very participant with me. I talk to him almost every day, trying to get better price and shipments from China. He's very active on his 132nd scale. And as far as I know, 132nd scale is bigger than the Masetti Racing 124 stuff.
I've known him since I was 15 or 16, and I love him and hate him like a brother, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I see him. I don't see him now. I'm in Florida for a couple of months, but I'm normally in the shop 3-4 times a week. And his mentality is not of a slotted. It's not of a scale auto. Maybe that's a better way to say it.
I think we're going to go ahead and end our live stream, but as usual, we'll keep chatting till next week. Everybody, bye.
Ciao.
And wait till it says end stream, and it says